Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, several non-chasers could potentially spoil the chase party here tonight, one of them being a Las Vegas native, Spencer Gallagher. Now, he had a good performance at Chicago, the last mile-and-a-half racetrack we visited, and his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, told me earlier they are running a very similar setup that they had at Chicago in their brand new truck they are competing with tonight. Now, Jeff also went to victory lane here at Las Vegas back in 2006 with Mike Skinner. So he told me that Spencer has been very calm and confident all day long, feels really good about his truck and race trim. He also qualified well. He rolls off 5th for tonight's race. Vince?
Thank you, Caitlin. And of course, it's all about the chase. And here's our 8 chase drivers. William Byron with that opening win last week at New Hampshire. He'll start 10th tonight. 6 move on to round 2. Right now, the 2 on the outside, John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemric.
You see Christopher Bell starting all the way back in the 18th spot. Guys, that was only a half a tenth of a second from starting up in the top 10. Extremely tight field here. And as we mentioned before, William Byron, the only guy that knows he's going to that next round. Everybody else, some sleepless nights.
Yeah, we come to Las Vegas, and I'm feeling an upset, guys. I think that 00 truck of Cole Custer could be the guy to beat tonight. Had a really strong practice session earlier today. I think you better keep an eye on the 00 and many of the other guys that aren't in our playoffs. When you aren't in the playoffs, what are you going to do? You're just going to go out and try to win. If you got to stay out on old tires or try to stretch your fuel, you're going to do whatever it takes.
And you never know how the cards are going to fall. It might work for you.
There's a look at Matt Crafton, and you see the chaser trucks, those that are fighting for the championship. They're all trimmed in blue. That rear spoiler will be painted blue. The splitter on the front bottom of the truck will be blue, and the name identifier of Camping World across the top of the windshield will be in blue. So the chasers all highlighted in blue. You can look at the screen and know immediately which one is fighting for a championship.
And they're there because they had the best regular season, but now it's time to try to close it out.
The sun's starting to set.
Oh, man, I got all geared up, Vince. I had it in second gear. I was rolling down. I was ready to fire off.
Just been told that NASCAR has decided to add a lap.
Huh. Yeah, the sun.
Why? We were ready to go down.
I don't know, but there may have been something on the racetrack. They may have to send some of the track workers out there to get it, but talk about the sun. The sun's going to be an issue here, I think, for probably another 20 or 30 minutes. Again, this is the earliest start that we've had here. Normally we start an hour and a half, 2 hours later. So right now the front straightaway, turns 1 and 2 are already in the shade, but as you come off 2-2, Michael, then you turn 2, then you get into the sun.
And that can cause a couple issues, Phil. I've raced here before. That sun can really be blinding when you go down in the corners at times, but then mainly it's going to change the way the truck handles from one end to the other. You're liable to be freer down in 1 and 2 where those front tires are really getting a hold to the road and the truck's slipping up in 3 and 4. And Vince, we talked a whole lot about the bumps here this weekend. The trucks are bouncing more than they ever have here. Watch that also as these trucks run side by side.
Yeah, you see them go out of the shadows too, just as you were talking about, Phil, into the sun. The sun's supposed to set at 6:23 local time, 9:23 Eastern. So we'll start this one with sun on about half of the track, and eventually we'll finish this one tonight in the dark under the lights.
Yeah, as we take a look from Jacobs Company's onboard here, it doesn't really look that bad, but I think when you get on around towards turn number 4 is when these guys are really going to be facing the sun.
Our pole winner, Timothy Peters, the first pole of the season for Peters. He has chosen to start on the outside, and that's Matt Crafton, front row qualifier, and we'll start alongside.
And when I talk about the truck side by side and bouncing, the one on the inside is vulnerable, hits a couple of bumps. He doesn't have the air to lean on like the one on the outside, and I think that could be possibly why Peters took that high lane, just thinking he can sweep around the outside, and Crafton won't be able to get a grip down there.
Boy, there's a look at that sun as it comes into the eye of the driver coming off turn 4. Well, the pace truck is off. Timothy Peters and Matt Crafton bringing us to green at Las Vegas.
Big push by Ben Kennedy on the back of Timothy Peters. That's going to give Peters the advantage.
Timothy Peters to the point. Matt Crafton coming back on the inside, trying to hold on to second.
You can run all over this racetrack. We may not see these guys up right next to the wall, but certainly the bottom 3 lanes as John West Townley makes the move to make it 3 wide in about the 10th spot.
Wow, these trucks are vulnerable right now. The tire pressures are low, the tires are cold, and this is when they're driving the hardest. Look at them, 3 wide.
And they may be racing the hardest, too.
Peters, Crafton, Kennedy, 1, 2, 3, all chasers. All three have been happy with their trucks this weekend as well. Peters hold back that smile in the garage earlier today. Matt Crafton made no bones about it. Says we didn't do a mock qualifying run. They still qualified second. That's how good that truck's been. And Ben Kennedy taking a look inside of Crafton for second.
Got a good run off of turn number 4. Ben's going to easily take that position. May try to bring the 19 of Hemrick with him.
You can see Crafton, he's plenty respectful to the guys on the low line. He gave a truck width room between he and the 19 truck of Daniel Hemrick, just so that Hemrick doesn't get loose and take Matt out. I think you'll see Matt be really conservative early in the going, sizing up the competition and his truck. Oh, it's loose also.
How about Cole Custer diving low to get both those spots? He takes third from Hemrick and Crafton.
And you saw that wiggle by Crafton, just that amount of time out of the throttle, and look how much momentum he loses.
But you know, Phil, I kind of like that right now. You don't want your truck handling perfect. Now, the track's going to change so much. You've got to be ready to have the adjustability, as Matt calls it, in your truck if you're going to be good when the sun goes down.
Watch the big wiggle from Crafton there. Whoa.
Oh, 170 miles an hour, guys, by the way.
Yeah, he already recognized that thing was a little bit loose, because you could see Hemrick even off the throttle gaining on him, and watch the 0-0 of Custer go by.
Crafton fighting back now as Spencer Gallagher tries to take a run on the inside. That's John West Townley, last year's winner in the yellow truck behind Gallagher.
And I want to tell you, next time you go into a corner and your truck just made that big bobble like Matt's did, you're not altogether confident it's not going to do it again. It takes you a couple laps to get your breath back.
And you can see how conservative Matt was as he went in that corner. Now he's got the 29 of Reddick right up behind him, giving him a push.
Crafton's just looking for a place to ride, Phil. He's not quite where he wants to be. Talked earlier about, I think he's going to run this race at least half or 3/4 of it semi-conservatively. And now he's riding along right behind Kennedy.
Matt Crafton, we're so used to him running up front. He's a 2-time series champion. He hasn't led but 27 laps in the last 10 races. He's gone 11 races without a win. For a lot of guys, that's not something to worry about. But for Matt Crafton, that's a drought. That's the biggest drought in 2 years for Crafton.
He had his hands full right there, too. Had to use some racetrack up.
Now you see that truck wiggling really bad off turn 4. I wonder if he's experiencing a different handling problems down in turns 1 and 2. Looks like he's just off right now.
And that's William Byron now coming up behind Crafton. Byron, the winner last week in that 9 truck, 18 years old, assigned with Hendrick Motorsports. He'll run the Xfinity Series for Dale Jr. next year.
These guys have 3 sets of tires in the pit, so there'll be some opportunities to work on these trucks. Junior Joyner will tune up that 88 Matt Crafton. Right now, he's going backwards.
Johnny Sauter coming with William Byron, a former winner here at Vegas in that 21 truck.
Talked to a couple of the crew chiefs, and they don't think that you're going to just be able to stay out on tires, Phil. There's enough fall off in these good years where they believe strategy could come into play, maybe stopping and getting tires late.
Timothy Peters in a red and white machine, the leader. No surprise that he would lead at Vegas. This is the 8th straight year that he's led laps in the truck here at Vegas. Ben Kennedy in second, and Cole Custer, remember, not racing for the championship. He didn't make the chase, but he's still got plenty of incentive, and he is closing the gap on that 33 truck of Ben Kennedy as you look out the front of Kennedy as he's eyeing the leader, Peters.
Heard him pedal out completely out of the throttle right there. These guys were talking about running in practice this morning wide open, but as the racetrack got hotter, they lost some grip, not able to do that now, even though they're still running fast speeds.
See the varying lines. That's something you'll watch maybe spread out even more as the night goes on. Right down on the bottom of the racetrack. And Hermie Sadler, they're all the way up in the middle of the groove now. What's Hemrick saying about his truck?
Michael, so far he is too tight center exit, but his crew chief Chad Kendrick said, give it a few more laps. I think it'll come to us. That's one thing that's been a little bit of an issue with the crew chiefs. They do not think the racetrack will go as loose tonight as it has in years past with this time change. So as you can see, the 19 moving up the racetrack, trying to find grip. Right now, at the beginning of this race, 20 points out on the outside looking in for a chance to advance.
20 points out, as Hermie said. mathematically, he doesn't have to win. But do you feel like really from a points perspective they can make up that deficit in 2 races? Or does Hemric have to win to advance?
Well, I think they could probably do that, but they're going to need some big help from the other competitors having trouble. I think they come here with a mindset, talking to both Daniel and Chad Kendrick, his crew chief, they came here to win, period. It's the only thing on their mind right now is to get to victory lane.
You see the leaderboard at the top of our screen. If the drivers are highlighted in yellow, they would be in the chase, advancing to the next round on points. If they are highlighted in green, they have won a race already, and of course that's William Byron.
You can see Matt Crafton's continuing to struggle all the way back to 10th place. Caitlin, he's getting challenged for that. What's the issue with the 88?
Well, he certainly is, Michael. And if you look at the last couple of months, it's been a little bit tough for Matt Crafton. He's been winless in his last 11 starts. That's the biggest winless streak he's had since the 2014 season. And already he's expressing some frustrations as he drops down through the field to his team. I just checked in with that team. He's also a little bit frustrated with his spotter. Feels like he's getting a little bit too much direction from them right now. Also telling the team he's just plowing off the corner. So Matt Crafton not happy in the early goings of this race.
How about Ben Kennedy? Thank you, Caitlin, for the lead on Timothy Peters in pulling off the pass.
And here comes Cole Custer right up behind Peters, looking for that second spot. And the 2 Fords of Brad Keselowski Racing, they're charging, Phil, both Hemric and Reddick in the top 5 and gaining on our leaders.
Reddick up to 5th, Michael, that's right, and he started 16th, so Reddick on the charge early.
There goes Custer. That 00 looks to the inside of Peters in a battle for second.
He's going to take that spot. And there you see the number 19 Ford coming back up to the back of Peters, and just behind him is teammate Tyler Reddick.
We've completed 15 laps now. These guys have a good idea which direction these trucks are going to go, whether they're going to be tight, whether they're going to be loose. And right now, some of these guys are having their hands full, just like Matt Crafton.
And judging from Matt Crafton's voice, it's really bad out there, especially for him.
Well, it's not bad for that 33 of Ben Kennedy, Hermie.
Vince, he has not said a single word on the radio, which typically is good news. When the driver is quiet, means he's happy. Obviously drove this truck out front. I just spoke to crew chief Joey Cohen on this 33. Again, not 100% sure where this track is going to go, but he thinks with this tire combination, it may keep them a little bit on the tight side. But right now, he describes his truck as neutral, the crew chief does, and so far so good out front with clean air.
Yeah, Kennedy needs a good finish. He's finished outside the top 10 in 3 of the last 4 races. You can't afford those kind of finishes in the chase. And he's trying to hold off Cole Custer right now. Custer taking a look for the lead.
Yeah, Custer was looking on the high side of Kennedy earlier, and now he's moved to the bottom. That's why these drivers love the track so much. You can move all over the grooves.
Just what we expected. A shootout at Las Vegas. Chase race number 2, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Las Vegas. Ben Kennedy in the front. He came into this race only 5 laps led on a 1.5 mile track ever. He's already surpassed that total here in the early stages tonight at Las Vegas. Timothy Peters led the first 13. Kennedy came up, took the lead from Peters, and has been out front ever since. But it's not been without its challenges. Peters has kind of slipped back. Cole Custer made a couple of runs at Ben Kennedy, and right now Tyler Reddick may be the guy that's fastest and on the move. Let's check in and find out what's going on with that 29, Hermie.
Well, Vince, this is one of the teams that most expected to be racing for a championship. Came down, had a shot to win the championship last year at Homestead, did not make the chase format for this year. They were a little bit surprised they qualified as far back as they did, started back in the 16th position. Tyler has been very quiet on the radio. However, they've encouraged him to move around on the racetrack, find some grip, and you can see him right now working on the 00 of Cole Custer, working to the middle, top side of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. He'll be hunting down the 33 shortly.
Yeah, guys, he did the same thing to get the 4th and the 3rd spot. He passed his teammate Daniel Hemric the same way, as well as Timothy Peters, to move up to 3rd.
And you know, we know Tyler Reddick as a guy. If the truck isn't handling quite right, he figures out how to get the speed out of it. He runs right on the edge of control. He looks like he's always about to spin out, but he's gotten so good at that. He gets the right adjustment from the tires or a little bit of wedge. He could be the guy to beat later.
On board with Timothy Peters. You see the different lines as they went through the corner there. That's Peters in front of him on the bottom, and Hemric taking a higher line.
Guys, let's remember, top left of your screen, that caution clock is winding down just now, right at 7 minutes to go. And again, these guys run about a 31-second lap, so you can look at that, mean about 14, 15 laps here, we're going to have a caution flag. And some guys are really glad we're going to have a caution flag, like Matt Crafton.
Yeah, and you think about the caution clock, it works out really well for the young competitors. We have so many teenagers in the truck series, and it works for them. If they start the race and they can't quite get a handle of the truck, the caution is coming so they can get to work on it, make an adjustment, and get in the game. I think the veteran Matt Crafton is the guy that really wants to see that caution clock go off now.
Michael, you mentioned the teenagers. We've set a record for the most wins by teenagers this season. We've already had 8 wins by teenagers. Now, again, 6 of those came from William Byron.
Crafton has dropped back to 12th position. He's lost 10 spots since the start of the race, so he's fallen back the furthest, no question. Definitely got a handful, but you know, Junior Joyner's crew chief, veteran. These guys are 2-time champions together. They'll get it figured out. We don't expect Crafton to be struggling all night long.
Yeah, and that's why Matt Crafton races for championships every year. He knows how to hang on to the truck and take his time when things aren't exactly right. This is a long race. Phil mentioned the caution clock. They're going to come to pit road. He's got plenty of time to rally.
You know, we started out this race with the sun really bad as they came off turn 4. Now it's all of turn 4 is shaded. Now the sun comes in about halfway between, or ends about halfway between turns 3 and 4.
There's our leader, Ben Kennedy, running through that sunshine into the shade, and right there where Phil was talking about, through turn 4, past the entrance to pit road and across the start-finish line.
Right
Kennedy.
behind him is the 29 of Tyler Reddick.
Yep.
He's closing ground the last few laps. Reddick's the fastest truck on the track. And now, Phil, he's about to the point where he's really going to get that draft. He's going to pull up hard on Ben Kennedy because Kennedy's busting the air for him. It's going to give him a chance to run up in his draft.
Yeah, he was a full 0.2 of a second faster than our leader, Ben Kennedy, that last lap.
And the draft plays a key role here, doesn't it?
Oh, big time.
21 of Johnny Sauter wasn't happy with his car throughout the course of the weekend, but right now we're going to keep an eye on this. Tyler Reddick eyeing that 33 machine of Ben Kennedy. Can Reddick scoop that lead away from Kennedy before that caution clock expires in 4.5 minutes?
He's got a big run here.
Really eased the end of the corner. He wanted to make up all his ground from the center and off. You see a little bit of a gap form as they enter the corner.
Those trucks lap by Tommy Joe Martins off turn 4, but wow, I told you that draft would pull Reddick up there. I thought he was going to have a run at him, and here's his teammate looking the inside of Timothy Peters. They're racing for the 4th spot.
Battles all over the track. Great side-by-side look there of Hemric and Peters.
You could hear Daniel playing with that throttle a little bit. That truck will get loose down there below Timothy Peters.
You see Peters, he rolls up the hill a bit, gives Hemric plenty of room. There's no sense in pinching a guy down right now, putting yourself in jeopardy of getting crashed.
Veteran move there by Peters as Reddick continues to stalk Ben Kennedy for the lead.
Now he's going to jump down to the bottom. Ben moves up the racetrack a little bit, runs through the center. Reddick not able to gain any that time.
That's got to be a good feeling for Tyler Reddick, just driving up on the leader's tailgate, knowing he's the fastest guy in town right now.
Reddick continuing to take that look. Is this the lap he makes the move?
He's there.
He has his nose there.
Wow. Ben Kennedy chops down, takes that line away.
Kennedy not giving it up, regardless of the fact that it's early, just 33 laps in, wanting to hold on for every lap he can.
I think Ben did a nice job of taking Reddick's line away. Reddick made so much ground up running that second groove.
Oh, we got traffic though, Phil. He's losing the nose.
We could hear him pedaling on that throttle.
Lap traffic, and Reddick going to use it to his advantage as they make it 3 wide with Stuart Friesen. Can Reddick make it stick with Kennedy on the outside for the lead?
Reddick was our leader that last time by. You see him hook the white line there. Still dead even off of 2.
How about 16th to first in just 33 laps to grab the lead for Tyler Reddick? He hasn't completed the pass yet, but he was credited for leading that last lap.
And there it is, finishing it off. Reddick securing the point. Our third different leader tonight.
Caution clock down to 2 minutes now. About 4 more laps. One guy that's going to be really glad to see that caution clock is Rico Abreu. He's the next truck to go a lap down, though, but I think he has enough cushion on our leader Reddick to get to the caution before going a lap down.
What about at the top of the show? I talked about 8 of our top 13 starters being non-chasers. They would be a factor. This guy wasn't even in the top 13. He started 16th and is driven to the front.
Tyler Reddick, a 2-time winner last year, finished 2nd in the championship, but didn't make the chase this season. That's how hard it is to make the chase in the Truck Series with only 8 trucks making it. Only 8 drivers make the chase in the Truck Series.
We had 2 or 3 guys penciled in as sure things to make the chase. Reddick being one of those, as well as Cole Custer, who now runs in the 3rd spot.
Caution clock under a minute. If we don't get a yellow before that clock expires, we'll get a caution on track.
Like you said, Vince, Rico Abreu's looking forward to that, along with Matt Crafton. He's just 7-8 seconds ahead of Abreu. He's rolling along outside of the top 10 in the 12th spot.
John Hunter Nemechek, another chaser back there in 14th, as you look at Johnny Sauter, who's inside the top 10, stalking William Byron. Hermie?
Let's keep an eye on the 21, Vince. Johnny Sauter, the driver, has complained a little bit about some smoke inside the cockpit and a little bit of oil that has come in from the bottom side of the truck inside the area he can see around the transmission tunnel. So we'll keep our eye on the 21 as he comes down pit road to see if this turns into more problems as we head into the race tonight.
Phil, a lot of times that might be just a little bit too much fluid in the transmission that is seeping out and will take care of itself. There's the caution for the caution clock.
So caution on the track, 15th time that the caution clock has come into effect this season.
Guys, remember now that a lot of these pit crews rely on some guys that are Cup regular pit crew members as well as Xfinity. With both of those series being in Dover, there's a lot of substitute people out here on these pit crews, so that could mean a few more mistakes on pit road. Some of these guys can't stand even mistakes on pit road.
No speeding penalties, no equipment out of the pit box, men over the wall too soon, as you look at our caution clock and the races in which it's been used this season. But you said it, Phil, you just put some guys in there that are not used to being either on or over the wall on a regular basis, or just not working with the same guys all the time, and just the smallest mistake, they get caught speeding on pit road. There's 8 speeding lines on the pit lane. It can turn your night sour in a hurry. Stuart Friesen in that 16 truck gets the free pass with this caution.
I was going to talk about the nice run Christopher Bell had from 18th up inside the top 10 before our caution clock went off, but Tyler Reddick said, how about 16th to first, Mike? Let's talk about that. But that's a chaser, Christopher Bell, that needed to make some ground, and he had a nice start.
The pits will be open this time. Tyler Reddick, as the race leaders, led 7 laps. Timothy Peters led the first 13, then Ben Kennedy took over and led 19. And there are a lot of them looking forward to getting some service right here.
4 tires across the board, Phil?
I think so, absolutely.
Tyler Reddick leads a parade down pit road. Hermie Sadler.
The 29 truck started tight, Vince. Got to neutral about midway through the run, ended up on the free side. It's going to be 4 tires, a track bar adjustment for the 29. Same story for the 33 of Ben Kennedy, 4 tires, also a track bar adjustment. The 33 is too loose. Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, the 00 of Cole Custer, he's making his very first start here at Las Vegas. It's been pretty good for him so far. He told his team, I'm just tight center off, but pretty good. It's not as good, though, in traffic. They're going to do 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, and fuel for the 00 Cole Custer.
Yeah, a little bit slower stop for that 29 of Reddick. Ben Kennedy going to get out ahead of him, and also Cole Custer with a stop up around 20 seconds. So it looks like Ben Kennedy's crew is going to be the winner. Gets Kennedy off pit road first. Plenty of action left. It's Las Vegas, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Now the sun's starting to set, and it is going to be an absolutely beautiful evening for the rest of this race. The third truck back, the yellow one, the 88 of Matt Crafton, penalized for an uncontrolled tire on this pit stop, just as you were talking about, Phil, before the pit stops.
Yeah, we can't have any mistakes, and that's one of our veteran teams down there, and they let that tire go, and it rolled into the pit box behind them. That's an uncontrolled tire. So might as well come in and top it off. Now we're going to have the penalty and have to restart from the longest line.
Yeah, they had a lengthy pit stop anyway. I think just some adjustments on that 88 truck, trying to get it up under Matt. Wow, was he ever animated earlier about how that truck was driving and how upset he was about their performance early in the going.
I thought you had the great line. You said he had 4 uncontrolled tires before the pit stop, and then they had one during, because he had a couple of handfuls.
That's 5 so far. Let's keep count. See if he can get these 4 up under control and make some ground. He's going to have to do it from the back of the field.
Well, Tyler Reddick was your leader going into the pit stops, but Ben Kennedy got the lead during the exchange. As you see, we opened the chase last week at New Hampshire on the mile paperclip. We got the 1.5 miles here at Las Vegas, and then our next chase race, the end of round 1 at Talladega, October 22nd. So at the end of that Talladega race, we'll cut our chasers down from 8 to 6. That will take us into round 2.
Love the diversity of our chase schedule. See, back inside that black truck, 13th spot, that's Cole Custer. He came in the pits 3rd, guys, and came out 13th.
Ben Kennedy, the control vehicle, across the line and leading us back to green.
Oh, problem for the 4 of Christopher Bell, one of our chase contenders.
Bell didn't get started. Is it going to get going again, or does he have a significant problem?
That has every look of a missed shift there on the start.
I think he's back up to speed now, but look how much ground he lost. He's got Matt Crafton now right behind him.
A lot of positions lost for that 4 truck of Christopher Bell.
We talked about before the break how he had moved from 18th up to 10th. A solid truck. We'll see if this was indeed a mistake on the start for the young racer.
Boy, it has to be, doesn't it, Michael? You see right there, looks like when he was going from 2nd to 3rd gear, he missed that gear, and that's the momentum he lost as everyone drives by him.
Yeah, and just hope he didn't damage that engine. You certainly have the opportunity to do that when you over-rev the engine like you did, and meanwhile, we got a great battle for the lead.
A couple of teammates out of the Brad Keselowski Racing stable. The 19 of Hemrick and the 29 of Reddick for the lead. Hemrick credited with the lead on that lap.
Wonder if Brad's sitting in Dover smiling or just nervous because his trucks are battling for the lead side by side.
I think he's both. He's smiling and he's nervous.
Timothy Peters right there looking to pounce if something happens and a mistake is made. Ben Kennedy is there. John West Townley throw a blanket over the top 5.
I'm telling you, Daniel Hemrick is driving as hard as he can right now. He's trying to get the lead. He's trying to hold his truck away from Reddick's in the corner. It's so hard to do.
Through 1 and 2, now onto the backstretch. Tyler Reddick did not make the chase. His teammate Daniel Hemrick did, made it on points, and then Hemrick had that 28th place finish. All kind of problems last week at New Hampshire.
We're in shade all the way around this racetrack now, so they're definitely going through a transition. Let's see whose crew chief can keep up with this racetrack the best.
Yeah, I think it's probably changed as much now as it will, Phil, because that sun has gotten off the turn. I know it'll cool down more, so it will continue to evolve, but right now it's gone through a big switch.
There's Rico Abreu, who had to come down pit road for an unscheduled stop. Meanwhile, Matt Crafton putting the move on the 4 of Christopher Bell. That's for 16th. Caitlin, what happened to Bell on that restart?
Well, yeah, we saw him drop quite a bit because he actually lost third gear, and his spotter came across the radio, said, take a deep breath, just focus. You've got plenty of time to make up ground here, but he has dropped all the way down to 17th after that restart.
Plenty of racing left. You see, just getting into lap 50. So we've got about a third of the race under our belts here, and watch from the onboard here.
That's interesting.
Look, maybe trying to get it in gear or something like that, Michael.
Yeah, I thought I saw when he was to go from second to third, Phil, a flash of fire out the tailpipe indicating a missed shift.
Caution on the track in the 49 of Tommy Joe Martins, or excuse me, of Wayne Edwards with a problem. He's gotten into the wall there in the right front. Wow, so much excitement. Tyler Reddick leads. Edwards.
Wayne just got a little bit loose there and had to use a little bit more racetrack to catch that truck and got into the outside wall.
He's real fortunate it didn't hook back into the wall. He was heading that direction. He drove it straight to the garage area.
Check in with Hermie Sadler. Hermie?
Vibration on the right front has been the issue for the 98. Before the pit stop, they put two right side tires on. They lost a lap, went back on the racetrack, still had a right front vibration. You can see them going under the hood to see if they can see something outside of a tire. But the issue has been a vibration on the right front for the 98. Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, Christopher Bell just came down pit road because of that issue he saw with his shifter. He's saying it wouldn't go into third gear. He could get it into other gears. So one of the interior mechanics went over the wall and he tried to push that shifter boot down, the cover that goes over it, to try and push that down. He said, I think we lost our third gear.
Well, we saw on that restart, Caitlin, where he missed the shift when he tried to go from second to third.
Crew Chief Jerry Baxter for Christopher Bell, feeling the nerves at Vegas.
He lost third gear. If the shifter boot's in the way, right there, you see the fire coming out? That's the engine over revving. So that thing could be in jeopardy going forward, but when he tried to go from second to third, he just couldn't get it in that gear.
Stuck in 2 gears or something, or you're in third right now? I think hang on, I was trying third. Let me try it again. I think you're going to have to shift from second to fourth. Just be smart about it. Make, real conscious effort not to mess up on the shift.
And what that means, he's going to have to lay back as much as he can, run it out in second as far as he can, and then drop it into fourth, and the trucks will all scatter to go around him because he'll lose his momentum.
Saw a couple trucks come down pit road here to take this opportunity because, guys, we're going to restart this race completing 55 laps. About 38 for the caution clock, then we'll go to 93, and that's 53 laps from when most of these trucks on the lead lap last pitted. Some of those guys could be in jeopardy of running out of gas.
Team BKR on the front row. Daniel Hemrick on the inside, Tyler Reddick on the outside. Back green in Las Vegas. Peters and Kennedy right behind the first two.
It looks like a pace lap, doesn't it, up there in the first 6 or 8 rows?
It's an unorganized one now. They're going 3 wide. You don't see that much on the pace lap.
Well, that was Cody Coughlin that swung way out.
Coughlin was strong and loud, and I love what I'm seeing from this kid. Really starting to get some speed.
I thought that was Coughlin. Actually, I think it was the 24 of Enfinger, wasn't it? Grant Enfinger jumped out there to make it 3 wide and grab a position.
That's him back there, right side of your screen now underneath the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
There's so many yellow trucks. There's John West Townley. He's found himself up in the top 5. William Byron, after a so-so qualifying effort, he's inside the top 10 solidly. But the bright yellow truck of Matt Crafton right there, he's still mired back in traffic, Vince.
Crafton had a problem in the initial stages of the race. The handle went away, started second, fell all the way back to 12th, then had the uncontrolled tire penalty on the first pit stop. So hasn't been a championship caliber run so far for Matt Crafton, but there's a lot of racing left, and Crafton, if they can get that truck to handle a little bit better, you know he's going to get on the move. As Daniel Hemrick challenges his teammate for the lead, can he make it stick? Yes, Hemrick to the front again.
Talking about on the move.
He led earlier, but that was only by a nose, and they only led that 1 lap. Hemrick is going now. Ben Kennedy's going to hang right in there in that 33 truck in third.
Look at that line that John West Townley runs up the hill as Cole Custer looked to the inside.
Top of the screen, you see our chase standings. William Byron in green because he has a win already. Daniel Hemrick in yellow, the race leader, and the other chasers that would be in at this point. Nemechek and Sauter would be the two that would be out.
Look at Cole Custer on the move on the outside. Going to drive around the 0-5 of Townley.
Peters tried to go up the low side. He's going to make that work too, Phil. I love these truckers, man. If you try to follow the point standings as they run now, you're going to get a headache because they run all over each other, change positions practically every lap.
Now, thanks because these races are short now. We only have 38 lap segments because of the caution clock.
And they also have just this extreme urgency. If you're one of the chasers, you know you win, you transfer to the next round. And then guys that are out of the chase like Tyler Reddick just wanting to be the story.
Keeping an eye on William Byron there in that 9 truck challenging John West Townley, last year's winner here at Vegas. That's for 6th position.
An amazing season that young man William Byron has had. 6 wins already, crushing the old rookie record for wins.
More than a rookie in any of the 3 major NASCAR series. Just a phenomenal season, and I didn't see it coming. And even talking to his dad today in the garage before the race today, he didn't see it coming either. I think they all thought maybe he'd have a win by now, but 6, couldn't even imagine.
He raised our eyebrows at the second race of the year at Atlanta when he drove up and was running right up front when his engine let go. I'm like, all right, Atlanta's a pretty tough track. I raced here a few times. You got to be slipping and sliding. I didn't know that that young man had the experience, the knowledge to go out and run like that at Atlanta. He did it. And he's been impressive ever since.
And so many of these racetracks that he won at was the first time he'd ever seen the racetrack. So an amazing job, and it looks like he's going to grab that spot from Townley right here.
Already a 3-time winner on the 1.5-mile tracks this season.
Yeah, the job he did at Texas on the 1.5 to grab that victory late and go, wow, what a move on the high side of the racetrack.
That's the action at the front right there. Our leader, Daniel Hemrick, followed by his Brad Keselowski Racing teammate, Tyler Reddick. Hemrick, after finishing 28th in the chase opener on the march, he's at the front here in Las Vegas. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Chase. Race number 2 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we take a look at our Ford facts. And Ford's been to victory lane 3 times here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, all of those were with Jack Roush's organization. Travis Kvapil, our last winner here in a Ford back in 2007. But Ford's looking pretty good tonight so far.
Daniel Hemrick in the lead, and that's on board with Hemrick looking back at his teammate Tyler Reddick.
You know, guys, we talk about how none of these guys are secure other than William Byron. How about if Daniel Hemrick can take that truck to victory lane? He's one guy that maybe they said, okay, we've got him. He had trouble at Loudon. We've got him pushed out of this chase. And if he goes to victory lane, wow.
Not so fast, fellas. He says, Hemrick, I'm going to win a race and get right back in. You can see Christopher Bell, he fell back on that start. Just like earlier in the race, he's able to move forward around the outside of Matt Tifft. That's the 15th position. I'm sure that young man, that team's nervous about that engine. When you see that fire coming out the pipes, that's just from over revving it. And that could cause damage.
And the problem is, though, every restart, he's going to fight the same issue if he's lost third gear.
It's a special race for Matt Tifft in that 11. Also is right there behind Christopher Bell. 3 months ago today, he had brain surgery to remove a tumor, and here he is racing in the Truck Series here tonight in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's the second start back in the truck, and we're so glad to have him back. Had that great top 5 run in that Gibbs car last weekend in Kentucky in the Xfinity Series, so great to have him back. What a nice young man he is.
How impressive was that top 5 run at Kentucky? How impressive was finishing at Kentucky? Not only a top 5 run, as you see Ben Rhodes working to the high side of Matt Crafton.
That's for 10th.
Crafton takes that spot.
Pretty good recovery from Matt Crafton after his pit road penalty on that most recent pit stop.
Well, they've been so confident about their race truck throughout the course of practice today, and Matt Crafton never seemed concerned at all about the quality of race truck they had for tonight. So it's surprising to see him struggle out of the gate.
Yeah, you tune in about lap 10 and listen to him on the radio. That was a different Matt Crafton. That one wasn't in Vegas all day today. He was confident and relaxed, but he went off the handle early.
And there's no question that Junior Joyner, as Matt Crafton drives by or attempts to drive by the 05, has made that truck better. Remember when that first caution came out, that first caution clock came out, he was running in the 12th spot. Now he's battling for 9th. Caitlin, what's going on with that 80? He's looking pretty good.
Well, you guys are talking about how he's had a little bit of a rough day. I spoke with his crew chief, Junior Joyner, earlier. He said, really, the last couple of months, we've been trying to figure out what our missing pieces with this team. We have not been our normal selves. He said, we really want to get a win here just for peace of mind, going into Talladega, knowing that race is looming ahead. He said, also, it's my son Jackson's 2-year birthday today. I would love to get a win for him as well.
Having a tough time getting by the 05 of Townley.
I think he had a run on him, Phil, off turn 4, and they caught a lap truck, and Matt just kind of rolled out of the gas and got back in line. Wasn't going to force it and try to go 3 wide. You can see he's working really well on the bottom of the track, and that's what you try to do as a racer. When you catch a guy in front of you, you try to get that nose into some fresh air so it'll stick better in the corner. John West goes high, Matt goes low.
Townley won this race last year. Really great things were expected from this team as well in the 05, but season best 7th at Atlanta. Just haven't had been able to put it all together on race day. Daniel Hemrick not having any problems putting it together tonight. Rain throughout most of the weekend, so the Xfinity Series race today postponed until tomorrow. They'll start that at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You'll see that on CNBC. NASCAR race day on FS1. Get you ready for the Cup race tomorrow afternoon, and then NASCAR Victory Lane as well afterwards. A lot of action still yet to unfold in the NASCAR world. Plenty left to go here at Las Vegas. Daniel Hemrick, the leader. Really a few surprises here tonight in Las Vegas. Problems for a couple of chasers. John Hunter Nemechek running back in 17th. Johnny Sauter struggled a bit today. Christopher Bell has had his issues. Daniel Hemrick, who came into this race as the 8th seed, he's leading the race. In fact, has led 33 laps, more laps than he's ever led in a race ever in the Truck Series.
Yeah, and that's why he's seated 2nd right now, but realize if he does not win, then he certainly may not even be up in the top 6. But what a great job as we watch the caution clock wind down. About 3 more laps. And remember, for most of these guys up here, lap 40 was the last time they were on pit road. Yes, we had 4 or 5 caution laps, but a lot of these guys are getting pretty low on fuel right now.
And another guy that's really watching this caution clock is one of our chasers, John Hunter Nemechek. He's in the 17th spot, and he's nearly a lap down. He needs that caution clock to expire so he can get some adjustments to this number 8 Chevy and get away from Daniel Hemrick. You can see how close Hemrick is to him.
Well, that clock's going to expire just, you said it, just in time to maybe keep Nemechek from falling a lap down, get in there and get some changes and adjustments made to that 8 machine.
And just behind Nemechek, you see that blue truck going by there. That's Friesen. He's on the lead lap. Got a lucky free pass earlier. He's done a great job in that 16 truck. He finished 13th up in New Hampshire, and he comes here and is having a good run. That's good to see.
Under a minute now on the caution clock.
There you see Stuart Friesen driving up on the back of Tommy Joe Martins.
Under 30 seconds now on the caution clock, so pit stops are coming.
Cody Coughlin right now is in the free pass position as long as Stuart Friesen, the 16 truck, can stay out there.
On board with Coughlin, as you saw William Byron, his teammate for KBM, roll by. Byron up, approaching the top 5, running 6th currently. And the caution clock expires. The yellow is out.
Just in time for Stuart Friesen and just Tommy Joe Martins.
And also Cody Coughlin. Coughlin stays on the lead lap. So that was timely.
Remember,
I have to make some adjustments now. We got to get, it's getting down to crunch time. You make a mistake on pit road this time, Phil, your day's over.
Exactly. Matt Crafton was able to overcome that mistake, move up to the 9th spot, cannot afford another one. Now he needs to gain some spots on pit road this time.
Yeah, because he had a fast truck. He was running some of the fastest times on the track, but not able to make much progress. Gave up so much ground early. It'll also be interesting to watch another chase driver, Christopher Bell, how he's able to handle pitting and this next restart with the transmission issues he has.
Yeah, a couple of chasers outside the top 10. You mentioned Christopher Bell and John Hunter Nemechek. The others are inside the top 10. Hemrick, Kennedy, and Peters all in the top 5.
Yeah, this will be the final caution clock because the clock would expire after we're inside of 20 laps to go. And if everybody comes to pit road now, they should be good on fuel the rest of the way. We only have 52 laps to go now. Most of these guys can go at least that, and we're going to have a few caution laps under this caution.
But don't count out a few overtime finishes.
We could have that.
Attempts to get this thing done with these guys so desperate to get to victory lane and every spot mattering how they're able to treat these late restarts. Usually the further the race goes, the more cautions we have because the sense of urgency certainly goes through the roof.
And all positions matter.
That's exactly right. Every one of them, because you could miss the next round of the playoffs by tying a guy.
We saw it last year in the Cup Series with Jamie McMurray and Dale Jr.
Every event is just so important for these guys, and this pit stop is going to be key.
Chasers coming to pit lane. Let's throw it down to Hermie Sadler. He's going to welcome Ben Kennedy to the box.
Vince, the 33 is fast tonight. They were saving fuel about the last 20 laps of that run to make it to this caution flag. Now the truck is a little bit free on entry. They're going to fix that with air pressure only. The 19 of Daniel Hemrick, his truck is tight when it lands right in the center of the corner. 4 tires and fuel and a track bar adjustment for Hemrick. Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, Timothy Peters won here in 2013. Looking to do it again. He told his team, I'm a little free off the wall in turn 3. It's also pushing center exit. So as crew chief Shane Huffman said, we'll take a swing at it. Air pressure track bar. Also going to do 4 tires and fuel for the 17 of Timothy Peters.
Well, a good stop there for Hemrick as he and Tyler Reddick race off pit road for the lead. Looks like Reddick's going to get it. Gained a spot. Good job by that Brad Keselowski Racing crew.
Crafton didn't gain anything. Looks like maybe lost a spot or 2.
Christopher Bell picked up 6 positions. Restart when we come back.
Whistles kind of get on my nerves, but a sound of a truck going 180 miles an hour, I'm
Guys,
into that.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on this Ford truck on this restart of Christopher Bell.
He picked up 6 spots on that pit stop, but because of the shifting issue, let's listen whether or not they're going to have a problem or not.
Hey, what should I do here on this start? Should I try and just dive right to the bottom, or should I let them go to the bottom of me? Yeah, you're going to dive to the bottom. We're starting 7th, so you're going to dive to the bottom to cut our losses, yeah. So, okay, 10-4.
I love that plan. That's an experienced crew chief and Jerry Baxter. He says, just get out of the way and then get our momentum up and we can go try to get it back.
And I love the fact that Christopher Bell went to Jerry Baxter and said, what do I do here? That young man's learning, getting better and better. He's already been to victory lane twice in his career here in the Truck Series, and he's got a chance to run for the championship. But this restart could be very critical for him.
Brad Keselowski trucks, Tyler Reddick and Daniel Hemrick to lead the way.
Roll over, but be safe.
They've combined to lead 60 laps tonight. The green flag is out. Racing again in Las Vegas.
See the Ford truck, he's good in 2nd gear, but he has to go all the way to 4th. He moves to the inside just like Jerry told him to. If he can get by losing 3 or 4 spots only, that'll be a success.
Yeah, I think that was a great start for that young man. Got up to speed really good in 2nd gear, dropped it in 4th, minimized the damage.
Hemrick and Reddick have company. Cole Custer in that black 00 and the 33 of Ben Kennedy.
Look at Reddick on the high side. Looks like that momentum's going to work for him.
How tight they are up there. Look at William Byron jumps to the outside to make it 3 wide.
Where's Cole Custer going? He cuts to the middle and now to the bottom, trying to take the lead away from Reddick.
Cole Custer taking a look. Reddick hanging on up top. Can Custer get back to the front? He's led 2 laps tonight, trying to get his first win of the season.
Christopher Bell came by in 14th spot. He lost 7 positions on that restart.
2 wide with Hemrick and Byron, and there's Kennedy and the 05 of John West Townley. Timothy Peters right there behind him as you ride on board with the 33 of Ben Kennedy.
That's why this track is so great, Vince. You can see William Byron up on the high side. Hemrick in the middle. And now look at Kennedy. He's going to look all the way to the bottom. There's just so many grooves, so many options for these guys to take.
Custer stalking, taking a look. Reddick holding on.
Remember, both these guys not in our chase.
Top here, 2 back.
Yeah, first and second not in the chase. Third and fourth in the chase.
And the fourth place driver is on the edge of being out of the chase. He needs to get back to the front. Daniel Hemrick, with a rough outing in New Hampshire, needs every spot he can get.
Hemrick's led the most laps. Battle for the lead. Custer and Reddick. Custer took it across the line first that time. Credit him with the lead, but Reddick not giving it easy.
Wow, that was aggressive, and he chops down a little bit low. We talked about earlier, you need some space between these trucks. That space is going away, Phil, as the laps wind down.
Yeah, and Hemrick grabs that third spot from William Byron. He's right there behind these side by side. Look how tight he is on him.
That's not going to work.
He got him loose, too.
Reddick gained the advantage. Custer had to get out of the gas, and Hemrick's going to take advantage of that.
You saw all that racing early in the going where people were giving each other space. That's an example of what happens when the laps wind down, and the youngster needs to keep the lead. He wants to win this race. He said it was worth it to him. Oh, and look, Hemrick cuts off Custer just ahead. He thought it was worth it to drive down on the side of Cole Custer, and it almost bit Custer.
Ben Kennedy in fifth with William Byron in fourth, just ahead of him.
He had to get out of the throttle. Look at how much ground he lost to the 9 of Byron. It's going to bring Johnny Sauter right to his rear tailgate.
There's Matt Crafton. Tough start. He's worked his way up to the 7th spot. He didn't have a very good pit stop. Started outside the top 10, restarted, excuse me, and he's been able to work his way forward.
Boy, Crafton has had to earn it tonight, and Christopher Bell is coming up in there to get into the mix as well inside the top 10. Crafton started second, fell back to 12th with an ill handling truck. Then on the first stop, a pit lane penalty, uncontrolled tire. Finally, they got that truck handling better, and he's been moving forward. John West Townley now coming up to join the party as Bell and Timothy Peters are all there.
I'm not sure that 88 is as good as it needs to be now because he's having a tough time keeping that 0-5 of Townley behind him.
Here comes help, though, Phil. He's going to get a big draft push from Christopher Bell. Gets Crafton ahead of Townley.
Good recovery by Bell. See him jump to the outside and just drive by Matt Crafton. I think Matt had an issue there in the corner.
Once Bell's truck gets up to speed, he's got speed. Dealing with that missing third gear really hurts him on the restarts, but once he gets it wound up and going, Bell has plenty. Less than 40 to go at Las Vegas. Tyler Reddick, your leader. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, chase race number 2 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Looking at the leader, Tyler Reddick. He's not in the chase, but that second place truck, the one right behind him, his teammate, Daniel Hemrick, he is in the chase. And if Hemrick could happen to win tonight, it would automatically advance to the next round of the championship, as you see our chase standings at the top of the screen.
But look at Hemrick now. Remember, he was in second spot because he was leading. Now that he's not leading, just the difference between leading and running second, he is 7th, 15 points out.
And Cole Custer in that third truck, the 00, talked from the beginning, this is one of the best trucks in practice. He's keeping those guys on their toes. Hemrick gets a run on Reddick, and here comes Custer. These guys have been battling like this for the last 10 laps.
Custer's won a couple of races, not this season. He's finished twice in the runner-up spot this season, but has not gone to victory lane. Always kind of just gotten the sense that it's a matter of time, not a matter of when, not if, with Cole Custer. Outstanding program. They've really worked hard. A crew chief change during the course of the season. Marcus Richmond now the crew chief on that 00, and they have shown speed. They just haven't been able to park it in victory lane at the end of the night.
Look at Tyler Reddick off the road on the front straightaway. You saw him down on the apron. He knows how big the draft is in these trucks. And here comes Hemrick. He's got a sniff of that draft. He'll close right in.
Guys, you might wonder if there might be some team orders between Brad Keselowski's drivers. Obviously, Tyler Reddick certainly wants to win, but that 19 would advance into the next round of the chase. And I talked to them before Loudon, and they said we have no team orders. If the drivers would decide to do that on their own, that's one thing, but we have no team orders for these two drivers.
It's such a tough position because you know what a win would mean to Tyler Reddick.
Look on the
as
outside.
well. Cole
Wow.
Custer making the move for second. Takes it from Hemrick.
I don't think Cole Custer is part of the team orders at Brad Keselowski Racing.
He doesn't know about them and he doesn't care about them. He just wants to win this race.
I think Reddick had some sort of a moment over there, lost his momentum. That had to put Daniel out of the throttle, and that's what gave the 0-0 of Custer that much more momentum.
Custer ran the fastest lap time last lap, and you get the feeling that as you see Hemrick now come right back on Custer.
And Vince, that was just a great job of spotting for the 29 truck of Reddick. He knew that the spotter told him that Custer liked the high side. He went up there and passed Daniel. He's going to go high on you, block him. And that's exactly what Reddick did. And you can see what it cost Custer. He goes up there without a truck in front of him. He gets good momentum. He goes up there and someone blocks. You lose your arrow to the front and you can't make that kind of time.
What a young group of drivers and standouts we have in the Camping World Truck Series. You look at the top 5 right now: Reddick, Custer, Hemrick, Byron, Kennedy. Average age 21.
Yeah, we had a race this year at Iowa that the average age of the top 5 finishers was less than 19.
Now Ben Kennedy at 24 is just
He's
taking
the old guy.
He's taking this average way up.
Hemrick and Custer continue to chase Tyler Reddick. Less than 30 to go in Vegas. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, chase race number 2. After William Byron punched his ticket to the second round with last week's win at New Hampshire. Who's going to score the win tonight? Will it be a chaser? Right now, Tyler Reddick leads. He's not in the chase.
But 7 of our 8 chases are up in the top 10. Daniel Hemrick right now having a great run, running second. Came into this race 20 points out as he whips through some traffic, some lap trucks. He still finds himself, as they run, 15 points out of the transfer position, because all the rest of the guys are up in the top 10 with him.
The only guy struggling was the guy that was back there when we started the race, John Hunter Nemechek, and he's in 18th.
29 of Reddick, the 19 of Hemrick, both out of the Brad Keselowski Racing stable.
There's John Hunter
Nemechek. Yeah, what a struggle it's been for him tonight, back in 17th for much of the night as we've reached our Camping World 20 to go.
Nemechek just got by the 13 of Haley to gain a spot, put him up to 17th now.
Phil, the draft here is just so interesting. You can use it to get to a guy's tailgate, but when you get there, it seems to cause your truck not to handle and you lose your momentum. They've been bouncing back and forth from a couple of seconds separation to being right next to each other. They just can't complete the pass.
Well, let's find out what some of the crew chiefs are thinking as we're inside 20 to go. Check in with Hermie.
Doug Randolph is the crew chief for Tyler Reddick. You lead your teammates in second. What's the priority for this race team? 29 to victory lane or 19 to the next round of the chase?
The priority for BKR is to win a race. That's what we're here today. Tyler's doing great. Daniel's doing great. Great to see these guys out here racing. We're just trying to bring it home for BKR.
Caitlin.
Well, Hermie, Marcus Richmond, the crew chief for Cole Custer, has been very complimentary. How are you feeling about your driver's performance today? And do you have enough fuel to make it to the end if we go caution-free?
Yeah, the Haas Automation Chevrolet has been really good tonight. We've been really good on the short runs, get a little tight the longer we go. Cole's done an awesome job. And yes, we got enough fuel to go to the end, but I wouldn't mind seeing another caution because I'd like to put some tires on this thing.
Thank you, Marcus.
A lot of different thoughts and plans and potential.
Can you believe the way the gears are all spinning down there among those crew chiefs? They've got to have a plan in case of a caution. They got to know how much air pressure to put in the tires for a short run to the finish. And some of them want the caution to come out. I don't think Christopher Bell does.
But what an amazing job, Michael, he's done. He restarted 7th, went all the way back to 14th, the first lap on the restart, and has driven his way all the way back up to 6th.
Well, and if you're just joining us, the reason why is he's doesn't have third gear. So the restarts are extremely costly for Christopher Bell. Falls back, then once he gets going and gets up to speed, he's lightning fast.
Yeah, with only 17 laps to go, if we were to get a caution anytime from now until the end of the race, it's going to hurt him more than anybody.
On board with John Hunter Nemechek. Boy, it seems like every time I look at the scoreboard, he's 17th tonight. And there's Tyler Reddick going around him to put Nemechek a lap down.
He has to keep in contact with Reddick in case the caution were to come out. Desperately needs to stay on that lead lap, or get back on the lead lap, I should say. But that's Cody Coughlin right out in front of Reddick, and he's the next truck to go a lap down.
You could just see that 8 truck down there in 3 and 4 bouncing around, loose in the turns. He just can't do anything with it. Just hanging on right now.
Hemrick now making the move to go around Nemechek. Continues to chase his teammate Tyler Reddick for the lead. 15 laps to go.
It's only going to be another lap or so before Reddick is able to get by Cody Coughlin, and that will put the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek out of the free pass spot.
2 of the top 3 non-chasers as you look on board the 51 back at the leader, Tyler Reddick. Reddick not in the chase. Hemrick, his teammate running second, is, but in third is Cole Custer. He's not in the chase either. So 2 guys that win would mean so much to them because of the fact they're not in the chase. And then, of course, what a win means to the drivers who are in the chase.
You're saying a win's important?
Oh,
Is that what you're saying,
important.
Vince?
There goes our leader. Leaders around Cody Coughlin. That puts Coughlin into the free pass position and takes John Hunter out of it.
But it looks like John Hunter's catching Cody Coughlin at a rapid rate of speed, so maybe he can get back by him.
And if he does that, the next truck to be lapped is Matt Tipton. He's way ahead.
Yeah, he's over 10 seconds ahead of these guys. I don't think we'll ever get to him before the end of the race.
So put John Hunter Nemechek on the list of guys that want a caution. They can just grab one spot away, get back in this thing maybe.
Reddick has led 57 laps tonight. That's the most. Hemrick, who's running second, Reddick's teammate, has led 38 laps. That's the second most. It's been a BKR show tonight. Brad Keselowski Racing has been up on the point most often this evening.
Yeah, Cole Custer now has found himself 3.5 seconds behind our leader Reddick.
You heard his crew chief Marcus Richmond.
Whoa.
Wow, loose for Friesen. Matt Crafton dives to the bottom.
Matt right now holds down the 8th spot. Right side of your screen, that white and red truck, that's Timothy Peters. He's in 9th. Again, every position matters.
Coming to 10 to go. In more than half our races this season, the final lead change has taken place in the last 10 laps. So will we see it again tonight?
A couple of times in the last corner. Look at this gap, though. Look at Hemrick. He's starting to look around, Phil. He ran the high side that time, knowing that he's got to win this race. He's got to figure out a way to run his teammate down. Can he do it?
He lost 0.4 of a second that lap.
Right back to the bottom he goes. His crew chief told him the same thing you said.
Tyler,
Whatever you did there didn't work. Do something different.
Tyler Reddick starting to leg it out now. 1.3 second advantage. But all that takes one wiggle, and that'll be swallowed up in a moment.
How about the heavy traffic that Reddick has to go through? Had to split those 2 lap trucks.
He's on the gas, isn't he? He knows how important a win would be to him. That young man just wants to see a trophy.
Again, Tyler Reddick won twice last season. Finished runner-up in the championship. Was thought at the beginning of the year to be a sure chase contender, but with some bad breaks. In fact, they just didn't capitalize with some opportunities, weren't at their best in some other races. They made no excuses about it at the end of the regular season. They just didn't get the job done. But you knew they would be capable if they could put it all together on any given night, and tonight has been that night.
Now they want to make a statement. You know, we may not be in the hunt for the championship, but you're not going to, we're no pushover. We're still going out there to try to win races.
And at this stage in the season, even if you're not in the chase, guys are racing for jobs. Crew members are working for jobs, trying to secure and show their value.
What a great effort, though, tonight by Brad Keselowski Racing.
31.80.
7 laps to go for Tyler Reddick. Being chased by his teammate Daniel Hemrick, now 1.1 seconds behind, so clipped off a couple of tenths.
No longer to have to be concerned about Cole Custer. He's 5 seconds behind now.
Cole Custer has to look over his shoulder. Ben Kennedy's closing in from behind. Ben gained about 1/4 of a second on Custer that last lap. So battles all over the racetrack.
Just 6 laps to go here.
4th place through 9th place, all chasers. You're talking about one position could make a difference. 1 point could be a determining factor somewhere down the road. Everybody racing for a spot. There's William Byron in the 9 and his teammate in that blue number 4, Christopher Bell.
Now that position doesn't matter that much for William Byron. Obviously has already transferred to the next round, but it could matter for that 4 of Christopher Bell.
He's trying to run down Byron to grab that spot.
5 laps to go at Las Vegas.
That young man will call this night a huge success if he can finish anywhere near the top 5. After that trouble early, rebounding from it and putting himself in a position to get a top 5 finish. There's the battle for 3rd we talked about.
And if Ben Kennedy could get that spot from Cole Custer, that's a point for the good for Kennedy.
Yeah, even though Custer is not in the chase for the championship, it's still a point. Every point matters.
Less than 5 remaining in Las Vegas.
Look at Kennedy draft up on the back of Custer. Sounds like he had a pretty good corner there, but you could see Custer pulls away a bit in the turn.
That draft's going to reel him right back in, though.
Ben Kennedy continuing to pursue Cole Custer for 3rd. William Byron behind Kennedy in 4th. Christopher Bell in 5th.
And the fastest truck that time by was Tyler Reddick. He's certainly still showing the speed it's going to take to drive to victory lane.
There's Bell trying to chase down his teammate William Byron. That's the gap from 1st back to 2nd here with almost 2 laps to go.
1.1 second, now just under. Hemrick
Right here, 2.
slowly.
A little extra room on exit and entry. 2 to go. Stay focused for me.
Hemrick slowly closing the gap, but is he going to have enough time? Under a second advantage now.
That time by 2/10. Daniel Hemrick was the fastest truck on the track.
They've got 1 truck in the same straightaway as them. Not sure they're going to get to him here as they come down for 1 to go.
On board with Hemrick. That's the advantage he's got to erase. And he's only got 1 lap to do it. The white flag is out in Las Vegas.
What a great night. You can get around to the finish of this thing for Brad Keselowski Racing. A 1-2 finish here at Las Vegas.
Into turn 3 for Reddick. He's almost there. He came in tonight as an underdog. He's a non-chaser, but he's going to capitalize and take it to victory lane. Tyler Reddick wins at Las Vegas. Daniel Hemrick 2nd. 1-2 finish for BKR. And Christopher Bell brings it home 6th. What a strong finish for Bell, all things considered.
Yeah, especially restarted 7th, went to 14th in that first lap and drove her back up to 6th.
Tyler Reddick. Well, that takes some of the sting out of not making the chase. Cashing in at Las Vegas. The 3rd career win for Reddick. The first 1-2 finish ever for Brad Keselowski Racing. So fitting that in Las Vegas, an underdog would steal the show. Tyler Reddick didn't make the chase, but he cashed in tonight in Vegas with the win. His 3rd career victory. And he is so happy. And as he gets the checkered flag, it was cool. You can hear the fans cheering. They love the fact that he got out of the truck and came in, and
you could
excitement.
Hear the fans cheering over the engine running during the burnout. They're into this victory by Tyler Reddick. Really fun to see those guys celebrate with the fans like that.
Well, his teammate Daniel Hemrick gave it a heck of a run, but came up short. Second place tonight for Hemrick. He's with Caitlin.
Well, Vince, certainly a very strong run for Daniel Hemrick here tonight. Do you think with a couple more laps you could have caught your teammate?
No, he was good. You know, clean air is always king here, these 1.5 miles, but ultimately I'm just so proud of everybody Brad Keselowski racing. It's the first 1.5 mile win for BKR, so congratulations to Tyler and the entire 29 guys. You know, they did what they had to do. They won the race throughout pit road, and clean air, like I said, was such a big deal. But really proud of everybody on this Blue Gate Bank Ford F-150. We fought hard. Probably had to run a little too hard there with the 0-0. Hurt the right front tire too much, and I thought if I could fall back, I could cool the right front tire off enough to make a charge at it, but just lost all right front turn. I tried to run the top one lap and lost, you know, half a second or so. So just kind of just riding around there on the bottom, trying to hope he, you know, came off the white line a little earlier than I could, and I can make a little gain, just not quite enough. But all in all, just really proud of everybody on this entire deal, and solid day for the whole company.
Daniel Hemrick earns his 9th top 5 performance so far this year, Vince.
Well, and he finishes second, but he's still, you know, only gained 5 points in the standings. I mean, he came into this race 20 points back of the cutoff, and now he's just 15. It almost seems like he didn't get his due.
You know, Phil, there's a lot of people that are breathing easier now, finally, and that would include Christopher Bell. I think he thinks he can go to Talladega and probably survive to the next round along with Matt Crafton.
I think maybe the guys that are 25 and 24 points back maybe able to breathe this week. I'm not sure. Ben Kennedy 18 points up, and those guys behind him will breathe that much easier.
And a tough night for John Hunter Nemechek, who finished 16th. Well, Hermie gets the honor of welcoming the winner, Tyler Reddick, in victory lane.
Well, here he is, Vince. Tyler Reddick, second in points last year, did not have the opportunity to race for a championship this year, but what a statement this team made tonight. And you can see the emotion. Tyler, when drivers and teams say, what can we do for people to talk about us if we're not racing for a championship? That's win a race. First ever victory on a 1.5 mile racetrack for BKR. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible accomplishment, not just for our team, but for the whole organization. This has been something that I know that I and everyone here at this team have wanted to do, is win on a 1.5 mile racetrack. And, you know, I had to do it. I had to get aggressive and make some moves that I probably shouldn't have even on my teammates. So appreciate to him. I know he's probably not the happiest with me getting on his door real bad, but honestly, I knew how that run ran out the end that, I mean, we just had to make that move there to hold and be able to hold him off from up front, because I couldn't get around me at the end of the run like that. So just kind of breathless, speechless. I don't know, it's a really big deal for everybody part of this team, so I'm just really happy to be the pilot, be able to bring it here at Victory Lane for those guys.
You guys, as you mentioned, race side by side, door to door. You for a win, he for a chance to advance in the championship. Split-second decisions are being made on this racetrack. If you go back at all, do you change anything you did?
Maybe been a little bit nicer on his door on the outside, but I can promise you, if there's anybody that's going to be behind the 19, push him to a victory at Talladega, I'm definitely going to be helping him 120%. I'm going to be at his back bumper pushing, make sure he's in the chase and he gets a win at Talladega. So that's our goal going into Talladega. I know we want to win, but we really need to make sure that 19 is locked in. Misses a wreck, we can help him get in the next round for sure.
That's Tyler Reddick. He's in victory lane at Las Vegas. Vince?
You saw the emotion. You saw what it meant, not just to Reddick, but to that entire team. The victory at Las Vegas.